Sphere channel. And now some chilled discussion after the week's angst, with the Doctor Who Detox Hour, or two.
Oh, I'm sure Albanese moved then. Our Aussie detoxers will have been doing their public duty voting in the Australian federal elections, hence the thumbnail. So the detox might be just what every Aussie Whovian needs, a detox from the political troubles and debates, and equally the Whovian ones. Another show then to cure your chronic bout of cosmic catarrh with a Doctor Who Detox Hour. Lots of nostalgia, goodies and gems today to soothe those special anomalies and anxieties. Welcome to our group therapy for Whovians, a detoxifying tonic before the weekend hits. It has been another busy week for the Sensphere, the channel that never sleeps. The children of time were on fire on Tuesday, and if you just want to cheer up, this is all about detoxes. Go to 44 minutes, and it all kicks off about, believe it or not, the Pope dying and various things like that. But that's how it affected the Doctor Who ratings. It was so funny. So please tune in to have a quick look at that. We also had John letting rip on the editor of the Doctor Who monthly magazine and explaining his reasons for cancelling his subscription after buying every issue since number 1 in 1979. Yeah, that's a brilliant one. And then me and the other John had our Thursday think tank discussing the reports, the rumours, the theories about ending Doctor Who. But this is our detox time, and I cannot think of a better crew to share my therapy with than the detoxers. So shall I get them on? I think so. So he was the first cab on the rank. He's from Sirens of Audio. He's down in Tassie. Here he is. Hiya.
Hey, g'day. How's things?
Well, everything's tickety-boo apart from we're tiny on this screen. I'm trying to make us bigger. Don't worry. I'll get us onto this one first. There you go. Everything's good to go. Good to go again. I wake up and I'm going, there must be another show today.
You just can't get enough, can you, Brendan?
I'm addicted
You're a
to
glutton for
myself.
punishment.
Oh, God, it's awful, isn't it? It's awful. Let's hope this is over soon. And Dan, he's always ever ready. Here he is.
Hey, gang.
You're going to be our alert one, aren't you? You're going to be sharp.
I'm very sharp tonight. I'm wide awake now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's been suffering from, he was watching one of the Peladons and he fell asleep.
Yeah. I must have been in front of Monster Peloton.
Oh, God. Your detox started too early. And, of course, the quartet is full with the shy, the quiet, the reserved. Boomer Doug.
Are we on air? I don't think we're on air, Brendan. I've just noticed that.
We are
just
on
joking. Air. I'm only joking. Joking.
Oh God! Don't do that to me.
It's we had a problem, didn't we, last time on?
Excuse me, I don't have any problems.
I can't remember
everything.
What show was I on? You got so many bloody shows. What show was I on?
You were on
Night Watch or something. What's it called? Night Watch?
Day Watch?
Morning Watch? Yeah, that one.
Doom Watch?
Dude, that's the one. Yeah, it's it's lovely to be on this second-rate rip-off of other Doctor Who shows. I'm really happy to be here.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't know.
Are we the homage or are they the homage?
We're the homage to the homage, apparently.
This is definitely the original Sensphere.
Nobody knows what we're talking about, but that's half the fun, isn't it?
We are the original Sensphere. I'm not aware of any.
That's it. There's no other Sensphere that I'm aware of. No.
Yeah, I mean, we always like a nice copy in Thailand, don't we? You go there, you get your copy watches and everything. I mean,
Yeah, I'm a copy. I'm a clone.
so I'll try and sort out this silly little device here where we're tiny on this one, but at the moment it's the Doctor Who detox. You've all done your public duty today and voted, but now we need to get on with other stuff, Doctor Who stuff. Have you seen this? They were showing this. It's been trailing in the Wyoming. David Tennant, our 10th and 14th Doctor, has a game show.
Oh.
And he has to wear a suit. He's in a kind of sci-fi kind of room. He's got a magic box like that. There it is. Look at that. Looks like a TARDIS, doesn't it?
I think that's a
I was going to
rip-off
say
of
that
something.
first image it reminded me of the early scene in June where Paul Atreides has to put his hand inside the box to be tested whether he's human or
Yeah.
not.
It's happened
Yeah.
to me many times.
I think they are trying to do that kind of vibe. I must admit. There you go. There he is. And so what could this be? I mean, remember, lads, I mean, I used to love in the 70s Who Done It with John Pertwee. I used to absolutely love that. So, you know, our doctors have done game shows before. But this one, there you go. There's a bit more. I mean, God, it's like one of those Gallifreyan Frogwatchy type things. But basically, it is The Traitors. And they call it on Radio Times, it's a genius game. It's like the Krypton Factor meets The Traitors. Sorry, it's called a genius game. I always muck up too many shows. But his ratings were 1.2 million. Not so hot. Race across the world got 3.1 million. So our doctor is not... He's not the big selling commodity as he once was, is he?
Yeah, but it'll get a massive bump. It'll go up to 1.4 next episode, I'm sure.
Okay. Yes, unconsolidated, and yeah. Stephanie Barrett's reminding me, yes, that I'm a day early. I know it's because Doug, he's gone all political on me and he sent me loads of politics stuff and I've forgotten it. I don't even know what day it is anymore, Stephanie. It's a good job you know as an Aussie that you're voting tomorrow. I know,
Hey,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, Brent. I don't know if it's just my earphones, but you're sounding a bit like Davros to me. You're crackling up a bit. Is anyone else getting that, or is it just me?
Yeah, I'm getting that too.
Yeah, you sound a bit like Davros.
Right, well, let me just try something. So as we just talk about that for a moment,
Okay.
is David Tennant in your good books at the moment?
Next.
Well, he's not in my bad books. I just find him slightly irritating. So
Yeah,
I just don't
yeah.
pay him too much attention, personally.
Yeah, that's probably a good description. I don't even give him a second thought, if I'm honest.
Has the crackling stopped?
No, you sound like
No.
Davros. I
Okay,
mean,
well,
if
I'll
it's,
just have to keep going then. I can't do anything about it. But I'm not going to spend the whole stream talking about crackling. Right. Okay, let's get move on then. So, next thing on the list is if you like your cartoons. If you, Lost in Time. Look at that. I mean, things you can find now on the Doctor Who universe. Look at that.
What's that?
Ta-da!
gold one?
Oh, no, I know. It's shocking, really.
I don't even know what I'm looking at.
A dude in a dress.
Yeah.
Two
Well,
dudes
Oh,
in a
here we go.
dress.
Here we go. It's come up on my big TV now. Oh, that's terrible.
God, you're delayed. You're crackling. You're everything. My God. So yes. So
What-
there you
what's-
go, folks.
Yeah. What's the point of this, by the way? Is this just someone's idea of fun? Is it or?
No, it's computer kind of gizmo stuff. Mind you, the court jester looks so he's kind of got Dalek orbs on him.
I was going to say, is that a spoiler for something we haven't seen yet?
He's definitely got the Dalek eye about to come out of the forehead.
Yeah.
I
So-
I noticed what they've done again. That bloody I call him David. Shooty's got his long coat. Every thing that he appears in is the long coat, but in the actual show, nothing. There's something wrong there. That's obviously the silhouette they've adopted for him, but we rarely see it. Crazy.
Yeah, hardly ever see. Oh well, we don't see it because this was shown today. That's exciting,
Oh.
isn't it? How exciting is that?
Very.
Shooty pointing at Swiss love heart.
Yep.
Certain people will go, "Oh, isn't this amazing? Our doctor is going to be on the jury spokesman for the United Kingdom in the Eurovision Song Contest."
Oh, that's fantastic.
So you're gonna
That's
have
great.
the Doctor Who episode written by Juno Dawson of the Interstellar Song Contest, and straight
hope.
after, yeah, we hope, or we may not hope, and then we've got the Eurovision Song Contest, and then when we get the votes from the United Kingdom, it will be our Doctor giving the results. So it's also meta.
Wow, that's so clever.
Well,
Well, I know Dwayne will be hanging out for it.
Yeah.
it just shows you they think this is all, so intertwined and clever, and it'll have taken planning and this, that, and the other, and you think, is it worth the effort though?
Oh, I think so. I think it's a lovely idea. I wish they did more like this.
Well, God knows it gives him a reason.
The last time I watched Eurovision, I had a relative performing in it. So
Wow.
that's the only reason I watched it.
Not the
That's
Aussie on
me.
the big pointing, not that operatic one on the big pointy stick where she was flying across the telly.
Yeah, that's her.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she.
Really?
Well, I was thinking of an Aussie one, but there was a dramatic one where I thought she was going to die. She was flying across this.
Was that her? I can't remember. Anyway, it was Kate Miller-Heidke. So
Yeah, she was
when she
skewered.
did it a few years ago.
She was skewered on a pole. But
I
there was
love
a
Kate
baby-
Miller-Heidke. She's fantastic.
She was skewered on a pole that was bouncing around the stick. It was amazing, but I don't know how the hell they're on.
She is so talented. A really big fan of hers.
Did you see Doug, though, what she did? It was really
Yeah.
amazing.
I saw a bit of it. The last time I've really watched Eurovision is when ABBA was in it, so that's a long time ago.
Well, it was 1974. Olivia Newton-John was in it that year as well, another Aussie, and she was beaten by ABBA. She represented the United Kingdom in those days.
I watched that one from my bassinet.
Me too.
Well, there you go. If this is what you're into, I think Shooty's into it because he'll have to go and get another costume to wear. So he might wear little glittery undies or something. I don't know. There you go.
It'll be handy while working on changing the oil in your car or something.
Well, Dan, this is what you wear when you do anything with your car, isn't it? I mean, this is what he's wearing in Lucky Day.
I reckon I wore that in the 70s with a jacket.
Yeah,
John
you don't.
Travolta
He'd want
style.
to trust his farts, wouldn't he, wearing that?
Oh, you'd want to trust everything.
Yes, he couldn't be the rust on Rory Robot.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a cool look, but it's just not the Doctor's not cool. He's not supposed to be cool. That's the issue. But the Children of Time the other night had a scream with this. I mean, Sonny just had me crying talking about this hat.
Oh, the hat. Yeah, I saw that.
When Sonny Waffles said he looks like a bum, and I just
That's
does look
right.
like a bum.
Yeah.
Hartnell out styles him a million times over there.
Absolutely, because he does look like a bum, and Hartnell looks so suave and so classy.
So there you go. Our great Shooty is in the Eurovision Song Contest not as an entrant, but as one of the jury spokespeople for the United Kingdom.
That is a stroke of genius. I'm so impressed with that.
Very clever. So if that's troubled all of our detoxers out there, of course, I will give you some candy. There you go. Let's have some candy. And
You sounds a bit sus. You got this gravelly voice. You go, I'm going to give you some candy now.
That's
Well, that
very
is
sus.
nice. Yeah, very sus.
well, I could just show you pictures and I'll stay quiet if you want.
No, we just love the sound of your voice, Brendan.
Well, there you go. John Pertwee. I'll move
That's
on.
great.
then.
That's great.
So I saw this the other day and I thought, wow, Mary's TV Fury, Doctor Who, too violent. EastEnders is sordid. Robin of Sherwood is satanic. I mean, just what a world we used to live in. And of course, when it
Yeah.
came to this is the Colin Baker time, of course, and you know, she was finding
I
Doctor
think
Who
she'd be
very
chuffed
convincing.
that. I think she'd be very chuffed that now the fans have taken over her role when it comes to Doctor Who.
Yes. Yeah. Nothing
But
for
you
her
see,
to do.
but see, my argument now is quite clear that RTD is the new Mary Whitehouse because he senses Doctor Who. He senses it from showing anything exciting, anything violent. He seems to have gone into CBeebies mode, and he's making Doctor Who for what 4-year-olds. Just to me, Mary Whitehouse has won. Gosh, this is the
So
Aussie.
others.
This is the Aussie Snorefest. Obviously, this is the right. Okay, so I'll rattle through this one. Here's the ups and downs of the time rotor. Here. As you know, this is when I ask my detoxers how their week has been, and so
Just lost Dan. Where's Dan gone?
well, I don't know. Let's stick to the script. So, Dwayne,
Okay.
up and down of the Doctor Who week for you,
Sorry, who are you asking?
Dwayne.
I
Sorry,
missed that.
Dwayne.
Oh, you're asking me?
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'll give you my up first, and I've really been enjoying watching The Seeds of Doom with my son. Has been just latching onto it. He was at the other side of the room, and I thought, oh, last week I was enjoying the Big Finish Planet Crinoid, and I thought I would, throw on The Seeds of Doom to rewatch that. It'd been a while. I don't know when we'll get it on Blu-ray, so I thought I'll watch a few season 13s. And yeah, he just zipped across from the other side of the room, plonked himself in front of the TV. He was transfixed right from the beginning of episode 1. So that was very exciting. And we're watching it sort of one episode a day. Another episode stopped today, and he just wanted to keep going. I said, "No, you watch it like I used to. We'll watch it one a day. Let's do that." So that's been a lot of fun doing that with my kids.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, that's what it's all about. So obviously, Doug, you're up and down of Doctor Who week.
I woke up the other day, as I often do, and I took receipt of War Games in colour, the Blu-ray, and I bloody loved it. I really enjoyed it. I don't care how it was edited down. I just I looked at it as like a Reader's Digest. Beautifully realised colours, really lovely picture. I really enjoyed it. So that was a definite up for me. No real downs. Life's good.
Okay, okay. Dan, you're the Tom Baker Time Eddie detoxer today, aren't you? So, what about you with Dan?
Yeah, have you got me?
Yep.
We got you.
Oh, perfect. I was the same as Doug. I was just stoked. It's just like when you watch the War Games in color online, it is so different when you get the actual Blu-ray. Like
Isn't it?
is. It's such a difference in quality. Yeah, but I agree with you, Doug. I just think
Beautiful.
we're really lucky to have it, to be honest.
I think so.
Yeah. Sorry, and yeah, I saw the my down was the new episode that we got this week.
I was
And
okay.
I'm sick of everyone saying how great it was.
It wasn't great, but I didn't mind it. But it certainly wasn't great.
I thought Dan, you were going to pick up on me.
How much of a drought we've been in.
Yeah, it's a low bar, isn't it? When we're all saying it's better than Space Babies, and now we're celebrating that it's the ratings are above 1.5 and it's considered a success. What world are we living in?
Gaslighting world.
Definitely.
Can I raise a question based on that episode and what some people have been saying about it? or the series in general. And I want to get your thoughts because I've seen a lot of people comparing being a Doctor Who fan to being a football fan.
Yeah, I'm
And
sick
I
of that
don't I
analogy.
don't quite
Yeah,
like this comparison because, well, for a
I
start,
don't
I'm not a
either.
sports person, so I don't
Me
quite
neither.
understand what the difference is. But to me, a football team is nothing like a television show. Doctor Who, to me, is already at the top of the league ladder. They have no real competition. So, when you're supporting a football team, you've got all these other teams aspiring to be the top of the pile, whereas Doctor Who has no one else trying to be the top of the pile in terms of what they're doing. And I think for someone to say, well, I'm a Doctor Who fan, so I'm going to keep watching it like I'm supporting a failing football team is is well, I don't think it's a fair comparison, really. And I don't think I'm not a Doctor Who fan for not watching the series. I think I'm still a Doctor Who fan. But just because I'm not watching it doesn't mean I'm not. And a lot of people sort of say, well, I'm a Doctor Who fan, so I'm watching it. So therefore, if you're not watching it, you're not a Doctor Who fan, which I
Mm,
disagree with.
Yeah,
no, that's a
you
good
know, I
comment.
use right. I'll keep going. You know, I use the analogy a lot, but I don't use it to use the justification. I will keep going forever because every year I decide whether I get a season ticket or not, which is my point. It's a bit like buying your license fee for, and me, Sean, Cinnamon, we're all Middlesbrough fans, and we don't see that there's other teams out there because as a fan, you will not ever support another team. So there's only one team on the pitch to you, and that's yours. But my argument is I agree with you, Dwayne, regarding the football analogy. To me, works in a different way. I can drop my football team if they continue to play this style of football that they do now. Because they are just basically ignoring the fans. The fans want something else. They are delivering this. They are. My mum, who's aged 80, is going mad because they have all these signs, trigger sign. You can't say this. You can't do this. You can't behave like this. You can't put a flask in your bag. You can't do this. You can't do that. They do so many signs now. Now, this has got nothing to do with Doctor Who, except it does, because every blooming episode you get, don't be a toxic male, don't do this, here's a DEI policy, here's a this, here's a this, here's a... And somewhere in there is a fairly mundane story. And so I find that I can see a parallel, Dwayne, that we are getting thrown messaging at a football match. Remember, we had kneeling and everything. I mean, suddenly there's politics in football, which it shouldn't be. And suddenly there's a lot of heavy politics in Doctor Who, which there shouldn't be. And but I get your point about the fan thing, that you should just stick through it forever. No, I don't agree with that at all.
See, I thought you were going to say that the footy thing was about, you've got to go for your team no matter what.
When you're there, you support like hell or boo like hell. But that's what I mean. That's where I bring in the analogy. Some of these fans nowadays of Doctor Who say, you can't criticise, you can't do this. Well, yes, you can. My argument is, we have invested, like I've invested as a season ticket holder. We've invested in merchandise, in our time, in our years, in our memories. I'm sorry, but we have a vested interest in this program. And we have every right to say, negative or positive, what we think is being presented to us.
Absolutely.
Is that a bit better, Dwayne, then?
Yeah, well, yeah, I understand where you're coming from too. I guess I don't appreciate when people say, or they sort of insinuate that I'm not a fan because I'm not watching it,
No.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
that's
totally,
unfair. That's total
totally
crap.
untrue.
No,
Yeah,
it's totally
well,
untrue.
I just
Yeah,
don't get
that-
how you can have a strong opinion on it if you haven't seen it.
I don't have a strong opinion on it. I've not given any opinions other than I know that I don't like this doctor, who's not really a doctor in my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, that's
And
exactly
I've seen
right.
enough of that from series one. I don't have any. I've not given any views on any of the episodes because I haven't seen them. Well, I've seen bits of them in reviews, which is very entertaining, but that's as far as I've been with them.
Well,
Oh.
so there we go on that element. Well, do you get your Woman's Weekly, lads?
Yeah, yeah.
Always get it.
That's a religion in this country. If you don't get Woman's Weekly, you're not an Aussie.
Only in
Is
Australia
this
where you
still
have the
around?
Women's Weekly come out monthly too.
That's right. But they didn't want to call it the Woman's Monthly for obvious reasons.
Very good, Doug.
Oh dear. I didn't even know they still had this magazine. I thought these were dead.
Yeah. No, you've got to have the Woman's Weekly monthly. Definitely. Otherwise, you're not a true Australian.
Now, which footy team are you on?
So, as you can see there, you look at life differently as you get older, says Anita Dobson. She's trying her best to sell the Mrs. Flood's Doctor Who storyline in Woman's Weekly. I think this means we're in a bad place, to be honest.
She's trying hard, isn't she, bless her?
But you can see this magazine is the one I've ordered, and obviously it's out in May. Has everybody got their orders in for the Cybermen, the Ultimate Guide?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think I need
Great
that.
cover.
Doctor.
I got enough.
I will continue then. It'll be a fast show today, won't it, folks? Right, so here we go.
At the bottom.
Okay.
Oh, Brendan, you didn't. Is this because you appeared in Doctor Who talking about pillars, and now you're calling this segment Pillar Talk? Is this where this is coming from?
Pillow Talk,
You little-
yes, here we go.
You little bugger.
Here we go. So this is Brendan's Pillar Talk. It's very important for all those Doctor Who geeks.
I really like it. It's very
So
funny.
here we go. Pillar Talk. So yes, just for those of you, you've all got a life. You may not have seen that when I was talking to John Daly the other day about the Doctor Who Monthly. I was in it in number 84, the Peter Cushing cover, and I was in the Matrix databank where all the top Doctor Who fans go. And you'll see me down here near the bottom. Brendan Noble of Middlesbrough in Cleveland asks, now, lads, if you haven't seen this, it's a very important question for Doctor Who fans.
It's a great question.
Are the pillar corners of the TARDIS interior the same pillar corners as used in the Thal City corridors of Genesis of the Daleks? If
Oh my god, you were a nerd.
How old were you?
get
How
beat
old
up
were you
with
when you
it.
wrote this? Were you very, very young? Were you like 10 or 9 or something? Or how old
I
were you?
know it shocked Jamie. Jamie said, "Well,
I have thought the same thing. You're not alone.
well, this is what I mean." Jamie was laughing his head off. He'd never heard this before, and Jamie said, "Were you about 7 when you wrote this letter?" I said, "No, I was older than that."
It was last
You weren't
year.
a teenager, were you? You weren't a teenager,
Yeah.
were you?
So the divorce is going.
Oh my God! I thought if you were this cute little 7-year-old, it's a nice question, but Brendan.
Look at the journalist. It's lovely actually because they say no. The TARDIS interior is purpose-built, blah blah blah, and then they go into details about all the other sets.
They really treated your question seriously. I remember watching this, and in those days that was pre-internet, so they must have really done some research. So bless them for doing that.
Yeah, but what's great is that's what I'm talking about, isn't it? Look at those lovely pillars in the TARDIS interior, and I felt that they looked very similar to those pillars in the Thal City.
Do you know what? Fair dues, they really do. So
And
fair dues.
we didn't have VHS yet, so this is called from memory and seeing some photographs. And so you go, gosh, I wonder if they've just done some recycling. And so that's what happened there. But it made me think of a new item for us Doctor Who geeks here, where we deliberately try and find some really dodgy kind of similarity. I mean, there's the pillar, pillar talk. So
So we're
basically,
going to call it Pillar Talk, okay?
yeah. And so basically, the challenge is to everybody out there who watch us on the detox to send in, if you can, please, some ideas. We're going for humour. So basically, just as Brendan was not so hot to trot here, was he? I mean, do those pillars there look like those pillars there? I mean, really. So does the creature
No.
look like
No.
anything else in history? Does the power of Kroll? So basically, we need to find little kind of similarities in Doctor Who. Could that be the cousin of? Could that be? So that's what I'm going to just set everybody up for, to see if anybody can find links. I mean, Lee Smith's been nice, same old maybe. Yeah.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that Brendan, that was Brendan's comment, or the fact Boomer Dub was around and remembers it.
Both, I think.
What was really weird is when I showed that letter on Wednesday, I did, and I showed them to Jamie because Jamie thinks I'm just a mad geek. Other people wrote to me saying, I remember that letter, number one, but number two, I also thought the same thing. I thought, I'm not alone. There's people like me and you, Dwayne. Were you being helpfully supportive, or were you being sarcastic then, Dwayne?
No, I was serious. I have thought that before. Have noticed those columns in Genesis previously.
Oh, okay.
You see. We're on it. Yeah, Paul Roach, I'm turning into a Dalek. There's nothing I can do. I can either just, I don't know. I will try not to speak much. I'm leaving it to the lads to say more today because of the mic. But
Just tap it or something. It's probably got something loose in there. You were fine earlier.
I think
right. I can't. Doing it live is a bit of a pain. So, obviously, Doctor Who at the cinema. This is how the season's going to end, in a double bill of Wish World and the Reality War. And it opens up the whole thing that you Aussies have seen Doctor Who in the cinema in loads of places.
Yeah, I'm really surprised they're doing this. They can't afford to have everyone go out to the cinema when this gets televised, can they?
No,
They might
they'll
go
lose
under a
half their
million.
audience. They'll lose half their audience. I don't think there's much danger of anyone paying to see it, though, unless they're letting them in free.
No, that Dwayne, the proper fans are telling us on Twitter that they're all booking it. The real fans.
The proper
We're going.
fans.
Oh yeah.
So not like Dwayne then, it's the real fans. My
I
God.
don't-
Well, we book things here in Australia. I don't know what this booking it is, but
Yes.
we book it anyway.
It's
Sorry,
the same as cooking and I was going to say something rude then. It's the same as cooking and luking.
It's much more
So does that
expensive.
mean that they're showing the 2 episodes on iPlayer at the same time as well? So we're getting a 7-week season
No.
instead of an 8-week season.
No, I think to try and make it a cinematic experience, they're repeating the episode from the week before, and then
So you're going to pay to go and watch a repeat, and then oh, great! I'm in.
yeah. But I think there's a couple of things to say here. If it just opens up, of course, this affects the world because it's simulcast, isn't it? Basically, there's enough spoilers in this final, we think, that everybody has to watch it at the same time. And so basically in Australia, 4 a.m.
What?
Yeah. See, I feel sorry for you, Brendan, because I just realised last week that, because I watched the episode as soon as it comes out here at 5 p.m. and I'm straight on to our little chat thing with you and Dwayne, who I know is not watching it, so I'm happy to spoil it on him. But then I realised that you're still not sitting down to actually watch it for ages, so I feel sorry. Are you watching it now live or as soon as it comes out so that you're not getting it spoiled?
Last week I had a football match to go to on Saturday afternoon, which means I stay with our mum and dad for a bit longer for tea and family stuff. So basically, it would be very late before I saw the episode, and then I do Who Night at 11, and I wouldn't be prepared with all my ideas. So I watched it about 8:30 in the morning at breakfast. You should not watch Doctor Who at breakfast time. It's stupid. Anyway,
No, see,
so
it's
you
the
weren't watching
opposite for
Doctor Who.
us. For
Yeah.
me, it's like 5:30 in the morning. Like, yeah,
That was
let's
normal.
get up. Yeah, now I'm really put out the fact that I've got to wait around on Saturday for it.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Although it's kind of a nice feeling though to actually watch Doctor Who on a Saturday night, like England did for so many years, and I did when I was a kid. But I'm the same. I got so used to watching it in the morning with my Wheat Bix and Sultana bran and coffee, so I just got used to it.
but this just made, and now I'm equally kind of upset for people across the world, because if you are invested in this even a bit, and you want to wait till you've watched it to experience whatever good or bad happens, if you don't watch it live at 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, you're going to have to avoid all online communication, because there are so many selfish people out there who actually just will tell you every screenshot going.
Yeah.
And if it's Omega, if Susan returns, if the fugitive doctor pops in,
It's going to be
Bloody
all of them.
Sutek.
It's going to be all of them.
yeah, and if the doctor then is locked up in a little book, or the doctor is starting to regenerate, the whole thing is going to be all over the internet. And so this is not fair. Well, I don't know
there's a
how
lot
to get
to
around
worry
it.
about. Got to worry about it a lot.
I suppose the only thing I can say is, obviously, because we're the licensed peer in England, at least they're giving us at the proper time, which means you lot and everybody else gets it worse, which I suppose you can't win on this one. I lose or you lose. It's one or the other. But this is where I don't like the internet world, because obviously, why can't people just watch it and just think, oh, I'll keep it contained? But no, people just put loads up, and you will know very quickly what's happened. And that's a shame, I think.
Yeah,
But
all those
Just got
bloody
to get your
people on
notifications
YouTube.
off and
Yeah, turn everything off.
not look at your phone.
That's it. Turn it off. Just
It's
avoid
hard to-
YouTube.
well, it avoid everything. I mean, this is what I mean. I mean, God, if it was big, we might even go on the BBC News. No, they wouldn't put it on the BBC News, because they wouldn't spoil it that way. But there's different places that might do it. So we're going to talk about the
I wonder
ratings.
how many are going to be watching from Beijing at 2 a.m. That's an interesting fact.
At least 3.
Well, Doctor Who's gone global, said Julie Gardner.
I reckon you wouldn't even be able to get Doctor Who in China.
Be against the law.
Well, yes, because I think of the messaging.
Yeah, it wouldn't be allowed.
Yes. So, you were saying as Aussies that you've been in the cinema and watched Doctor Who before. I didn't go and watch the Day of the Doctor, but have you seen other Doctor Who episodes at the cinema?
I've never done it. I'm not going to pay to see a TV show.
Dan?
Well,
Wow.
I went and saw a Doctor Who movie version. I went and saw the remastered Daleks and Daleks Invasion Earth.
Oh,
And
that would have been fantastic.
I only went and saw it because I was in Hobart at the time. That's the only place in Tasmania it was screening. So I thought I'll go and give it a watch. It was nice to catch up with a few Doctor Who fans that I knew I hadn't seen for a while. But we watched both movies back to back with an intermission in between. It was fantastic. I
that
enjoyed
would
it
have
so
been
much.
That would have been
I mean,
fantastic. You're
there's
so
a
lucky.
Peter Cushing
Remastered,
ones.
the sound,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
I just loved every minute of it, to be honest.
Oh, that's so lucky. The first time I ever saw it was a kid, and I can still remember it. So that's the impression it made on me. You're a lucky man. That would have been a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
Dan,
it's
have you
just a
seen
shame it wasn't real Doctor Who, though.
Nah,
It's
Wow.
the fake Doctor Who.
ka-ching.
Dan, have you experienced it in the cinema?
I have. I took my wife, or my wife agreed to come to the Power of the Daleks when they released the animation, and boy, I really think that if we'd had a 90-minute cut down, that would have been good because we got all the episodes back to back, and even for me, that was a long slog. That was definitely not designed to be watched in one hit.
Your wife bloody loves you, doesn't she? Jesus.
Oh, and she had no idea what was happening. And to
Oh
be honest,
no.
that first cut of the animation, it was pretty what's the word? There was quite a lot of static animation where everyone's just standing around giving each other awkward looks on the screen. I'm like, I'll lose.
Just to answer Simon's question there, no, Hoovians is not going anymore. It only went for 3 seasons. But we did have Rove on the podcast because he came over to Tasmania and hosted our event with Janet Fielding. So we did an interview with him too for the podcast, which you'll find on our list of episodes.
I'll have to look for that. I love the Hoovians. I really
For
enjoy
anyone
that
who
show.
doesn't know who Rove is, he's a not Emmy award-winning, a Logie award-winning presenter over here. I don't know if I think he's done a bit in LA. Yeah, I think he had a show over there at one
He
stage.
did for a little while, yeah.
Yeah, he's more well known here and maybe in California than in the UK. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I like him.
I remember. Yeah, I remember him obviously from when I lived there, and he had a nighttime show, and there was a what the item, and
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Like yours, Brendan.
yeah. Oh, I've copied. Oh god.
Do you have anything original on your show, Brendan? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Apart from Pillar Talk,
Only
I think
you,
Pillar
Doug.
Talk that's original, isn't it? That's never been done before. Pillar Talk. I love it.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to get traction.
We'll see.
So,
Rove's wife's also a Doctor Who fan, isn't she?
Yes, apparently.
Oh, well,
That was the premise.
that's important.
That's important.
So you can't escape this, lads. You did give predictions, so let's take a look. Yes, there we go. So, where do we stand on the ratings? So, of course, that's the official one, as we've seen for days now, 1.86 million overnight. And that means there's our predictions then. So, Dan, you said 1.7. You're the closest to it.
But the week before I predicted 1.86 exactly. So
I know, wrong week though. So how is that important?
I'm just saying,
I
was on the same wavelength. It was just a bit delayed.
Well, the week before I got it right.
Mind you, we did all think it was going to go up a bit, and of course,
I knew there'd be a bump, but that bump did surprise me. Weren't you saying, Brenda, it was because of the football or something?
Well, it was football. Yeah, the football semi-final had just been on. Some people go and start the tea, and they might have just kept the telly on. But I don't know how heavily this is measured.
Yeah, but what they're not talking about is how many people are turning off.
People kept saying that the pubs had left their televisions on, but I can't imagine there'd be that many pubs throughout the UK that are leaving their televisions on, surely.
I can't imagine pubs showing Doctor Who.
No, but that doesn't make sense, because isn't this barb worked out, or have they changed it? Aren't there like a handful of people, and then these people are like a sample group, so it's not literally everyone's TV that they monitor, it's like a handful of people who represent the country or something. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, and I've lost the thing. They keep changing the rules and how they do
they?
it.
Okay.
I really don't know, but it's number 9 Doctor Who in Australia on Disney. There you go.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. It lasted for a minute, but
Actually, before you go on, I've been watching some of your shows, and there's a lot of Aussie bashing going on because this was brought up before, and a few of you people go, "Oh, well, nothing happens in Australia, la la la." There's a lot of
noticed
Aussie
that too,
bashing.
Doug.
When we're not on this show, there was a hell of a lot of anti-Australian sentiment, and I won't have it. And I'm offering a challenge out there to any of you people. I'll meet you face to face. Do not knock my country.
In
Thank
Rundle
you very
Mall
much.
with your dance shoes on.
With Rundle Mall in my jocks. Just do not knock my country. Aussie bashing is not allowed.
Yeah, there was no Aussie bashing. All they said was...
Oh, there was. Oh, there was.
They said who...
Nothing ever happens in Australia.
Oh, well, they said that, yeah, but I mean, I can't contend with that because, of course, we're talking about Darwin, we're talking about Tennant's Creek. But
To be honest, though, there's not much on Disney Plus. I've been looking around.
No, there isn't. That was my initial
It's
thought
bugger all.
too.
Bugger all.
Yeah, they're really there's not much to. Yeah, it doesn't take long before you go, well, yep, watch Doctor Who. What else is there? Not much.
There's a good show
Well,
called
there's
Tracker.
Dying for
There's a
Sex.
show called Tracker that's
I
really
keep getting
good.
that ad up.
hold on. We're shouting over each other here. Hold on.
Sorry.
Pull it in. Right, go on, Dwayne.
I was just going to say, what else is on? Dying for Sex keeps popping up as a potential Disney show. Yeah, I never thought Uncle Walt would give me something like that.
Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? Dying for Sex. So is Mickey Mouse in it?
Yeah, so don't know. Hope so.
Well, there was apparently good news that Doctor Who had beaten Casualty, beaten Blankety Blank, beaten Celebrities Game Show. So, it's on the right, it's moving in the right direction. But then straight after that, we saw the Consolidated for Lux, and it was 570,000 less than Robot Revolution's Consolidated. So it's actually getting a lot worse. And so then I went a bit closer and looked at every episode since Space Babies, and RTD's Genius in 1 year has lost 750,000 viewers. That's clever.
Well, it's funny because that looks like the exact amount of people that keep turning Doctor Who off from the show before each week. Like when you see the show before's numbers, and there's about 1 million people switch off, and then the minute Doctor Who's over, 1 million people switch back on again.
I mean, don't worry, I've done this all week, so I'm just going to quickly show it visually. But you can see the green, 73 yards, there was a bump after Boom. Empire of Death, there was a bump after Legend of Ruby Sunday, but that's called the blooming season finale. And obviously The Well had a bump, but most of it is down, down, down. There is a trajectory, and it seems to be one way for Doctor Who. So RTD has not addressed it. RTD is no different from Chibnall, is no different from Moffat, it seems to me. The trajectory is that way. And it's just whether the BBC can cope with the issue here, which is, do you get rid of the programme and rest it, or do you just keep it limping on? Try again. Get another doctor. I mean, I got rid of Capaldi for what reason?
He was old, wasn't
Do
he?
you know in Australia, if you get less than 2 million viewers, it's in line for cancellation. Many shows have dropped below 2 million in Australia. We're half the population. They cancel the show.
That's right. We've discussed this off air with
I
Brendan
don't
and
muck
I. I don't
around
know
here.
why.
If it's not getting decent numbers, I'll shut it down.
It goes. Yeah, exactly. So what the hell is it? It must be too much tied up in it, I guess, for them to keep screening it. But that's absolutely right. If a show doesn't rate, it goes, disappears without a trace.
I mean, we're not willing it on. This is the other thing. I'm not willing it on, but I think sometimes a sensible pause. But the pause would mean lots of things have to change. Now, I know there's so many different rumours about RTD, Disney, Shooty, and everybody, but all I'll say is this. If I was at the BBC looking at what I'm seeing for year after year after year, I would say, right, we need a series of meetings, and we actually say, right, let's just pause Doctor Who for maybe a year, and are we just going to keep making another series and just watch that line do that? Or are we going to seriously do some surveys, actually do some opinion polls? They can really pay for some stuff here and really look at what's Doctor Who losing and then right the ship. but not just say, hello, the next showrunner. We trust in you implicitly. Do what you can with all this money. I think they need to do something a bit more empirical and scientific now, because that line is just going down, down, down. And whether you're called RTD, Stephen Moffat, or whatever, doesn't seem to make any difference.
No, you're absolutely right. If they continue it in any shape or form, it's a wasted exercise. They need to completely rethink it and reboot it. But I'm not really sure that enough people care for them to do that. They've got to have the viewers, don't they? I don't know how they're going to fix this.
Well, they like the money coming in. I think that's the
True.
reason. That's the reason they've kept Doctor Who limping on.
Yeah, true.
And it's just, well, for the sake of 1 year, we're going to lose it next year. I mean, 2026 isn't going to happen because nobody's available to make any shows. So some people are saying there'll be 6 episodes in 2027. That's one version.
No, they won't.
Well, that's one of the versions.
I think there will be. I think there will be.
No, they won't.
I think the
No,
BBC will. Yeah, because Dwayne and I have been advocating to RTD. So that,
Okay.
Dwayne can, sorry, that Boomer Doug can fulfill his end of the bet.
No, it won't happen. It's not going to happen. It's finishing.
That's what
it's
it's all
finishing.
about.
You're going to be doing the nudie run, mate. I'm guarantee you.
it's-
There's
it's-
no way RTD is going to let this thing go out on his watch.
No, he will.
There'll
There'll
be something. There'll be something. There will be a consolation prize. I'm confident.
It's never. It's dead. It's dead in the water. It's never going to be seen again. I promise you.
Well, and so this is called a detox, but I think people after this might be just taking
I'm sorry, but it just blows me away that, you know, after the backlash and all the stuff through the Jodie Chibnall era, I just can't believe that they got to the other end of that and they went, let's save Doctor Who, let's get it back on track, let's do what they've done. It just, like, on what level was that sane? It just, I've not met anyone at any convention that said, this is the way to go. Like, no one thought this was, everyone thought they were going to go the opposite.
Well,
It surprised me. I can't understand the chain of thought. I mean, it's either an incredible joke that RTD is having on all of us, or he's deliberately set out to sabotage the show, or he's so deluded that he actually still thinks that he's doing the right thing. I can't fathom the thought process behind this. I'm just gobsmacked.
I would have thought with Doctor Who, you just... Maybe, but to be honest, Chris Chibnall thought this is what was needed as well, but it's just then he did other stuff. He thought, let's not rely on the past, let's pull back, let's kind of forge forward. The female Doctor, I'm not quite sure you need to go flying into that issue straight away. I mean, I think he had the right instinct in one respect, and I don't normally give him much credit, which was, I think he tried to make it a bit darker, but is to actually re-establish the Doctor Who brand without relying on all the toys. And the trouble was, he distracted us with this female Doctor thing, and then Timeless Children, and then, of course, Chaos.
I just never felt they leveraged the female Doctor thing. It felt like they made the change, but there was no real compelling reason. Like, they never leveraged a female Doctor, if that makes sense. I just... Yeah. Like, whereas when you look at what Moffat did with Missy, chalk and cheese, like there's a compelling female master there.
Missy was a really good character. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, a decent take. But the biggest problem with season 11 was just it was kind of boring. You know, there was something new about it, but at the same time, the episodes were long and kind of nothing happened.
It was the style. Obviously, they're hoping we're nearly halfway through season 2, and it's lucky day for somebody. To me, this is, I mean, we were saying just off air, weren't we? Or was it just at the beginning? We're talking about, is this sounding like Love and Monsters?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely.
You've got Unit back, Doctor Who Light. you've got Ruby back. I mean, bless her, she's back for an episode. Is it just one episode? I don't know. The unit scientific advisor with the with the rocket launchers, he's back.
I don't feel like units. I don't feel like this unit is unit. It just doesn't feel like unit to me. Even with
No,
Kate
not
Stewart
at all.
there, it just doesn't have the same. I don't know. There's a way you could do unit for it to feel like unit, and this isn't it. It feels like
Well,
a
look at
copy
those
of some
dodgy
American.
uniforms. Exactly. I mean, look at those dodgy American uniforms. There's no berets. Where are all the berets when you need them?
So
They don't even look like unit.
So in Lucky Day, he's supposed to be an obsessive who's followed the Doctor for years. We'll come to Pete McTeague. And so basically it has a sense of love and monsters from being a little boy who's been obsessed with the Doctor. Now, you know, there we go. There's the story. There's a various things in it. There's Pete McTeague behind the scenes, who obviously was at one of your Sirens of Audio events, wasn't he, Dwayne?
He was at Melbourne a month or so back.
So what
Do we know?
Did he give any? I mean, I know he can't do. They take it all very seriously, but within their serious version of what they can say, what did he say about his own episode? Did he say anything?
Not really. No, he could. The trailer for it had just dropped that day or the day before, so he could basically only talk about what was in the trailer, and he was thrilled with how it turned out. Yeah, that was his official line, and he just went with that. Yeah, didn't really say too much about it.
I think Dwayne's holding out on us. I think Pete gave him a script, full synopsis breakdown, and told him
Dwayne's holding out on us big time. He's not sharing with his friends. He's just keeping it to himself, and it's a bit
And I've got all
self-fulfilling.
7 episodes of Marco Polo as well.
Right.
Can you confirm one thing? Is it McTeague or McTie? What do you mean?
McTie. Everyone says McTeague. It's McTie.
Yeah. Well, Mr. McTie, this is what he says about the episode on Saturday. What he loved about writing this episode was being able to explore what happens when the Doctor isn't around. Been done before. When he's off saving other planets, instantly, without the Doctor, there's more jeopardy for the human characters. The stakes are higher, and they're pushed to places they wouldn't necessarily have to go if he was there to save the day. But he doesn't save the day when he's in it. Of course, the Doctor is in the episode in a very significant way. Oh, it's like Blink, you hope. But really, Lucky Day is Ruby's story. Again, I love what Millie Gibson did in her first season, so we're going to do it all over again. Can't they all go and write Crossroads or Emmerdale? Why are they so bored with having Doctor Who in Doctor Who, being Doctor Who, saving the day as Doctor Who used to? Why do we have to do this alternative version all the time?
God, we've got angry Davros now. This is like...
Yeah.
I suspect... I'm going to be curious to hear whether you think that this episode was done before Millie was sacked. In other words, she didn't come back to do this. She did it all in that first recording block, and then it's been pushed off. So because it's Dr. Light, it can be self-contained. And
do we know the answer?
Do I know the answer?
I just thought maybe you know people. You know, people talk to you. People trust you. People think we can trust Dwayne. We'll tell him stuff. I thought maybe you might have known. You do, don't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's not watching him. Why would he know?
I'm sure this was done. I'm sure this was done before she was sacked. There'd be no reason for her to come back, surely.
Yeah. Well, so while I'll sound like Davros, I'll plod on. So he also says this: we've got a new monster in this episode as well. It's savage and terrifying and cannot be reasoned with. It was also a massive.
It's RTD.
It was also a massive treat to be able to write for Unit. I dare say for your Doctor Who, write a Unit exciting. And so we move on there. So basically, yes, Unit heavily involved. Ruby's story. The Doctor's in it in a significant way, and it's a really good monster. I mean, there you go.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it, actually. maybe I'm a masochist, but I think this actually could be a good episode.
The chat agree with us,
Be
Dwayne.
interesting to see Paul Jellicoe, who played the Castellan in the Five Doctors.
Oh yeah,
Was he in Ark of No, Five Doctors it was.
yes, he's back, is he? Yes,
Oh, it was Ark of Infinity too, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's in at the bottom there.
Oh wow. Okay.
Did I say Jellicoe? Jericho.
Jericho.
I'm thinking
Jericho.
robot here.
And just can I just say, lads, when I was doing all the Doctor Who monthlies the other day, it was that one on the right, and I just thought, do you know what? I remember that Five Faces of Doctor moment when the magazine showed you all the Five Faces of Doctor Who stories that were coming up and told you a little bit of stuff to get you salivating, and it just got me all excited. I remember it's these little moments that you look forward to, which I don't feel as though I'm getting much of at the moment. Such a shame. So, my next item is the homage to Doctor Who famously did, Gothic horror, Seeds of Doom was the thing, The Hand of Fear, The Mummies. Which ones stand in your kind of memory as really good homages, and it worked for Doctor Who as well?
So many.
Well, the
of them,
ultimate
really.
for me would have to be the Talons of Wang Chiang, where they openly homage Phantom of the Opera, but more than that, it's Tom Baker doing Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah,
which
Fu Manchu
I
was
really
fantastic.
enjoy. So all that
Yeah.
Victorian era, that story got me into the Victorian era. So every time the BBC or any UK with Granada when they did Sherlock Holmes, I was a huge fan of that too. So yeah, Talons of Wang Chiang was probably one of my favourites for those reasons.
I would agree with everything you've just said there, Dwayne. I don't even buy into the racism thing because that was just the trope of the time. It was the yellow face, as horrible as it was. They were trying to emulate the Christopher Lee thing with Fu Manchu, and the racism was representative of the era it was set in. I think a lot of people are unfairly critical of this particular story. It's one of my absolute favourites. I agree with everything you've said.
Dan, any homages? Do you like?
Oh bloody hell! We rattled them off the other night in the chat, didn't we, Brendan? There's so many. Because the genius of Robert Holmes was that each one wasn't just one. He took the best of all sorts of bits, stuck them together, and reassembled them in something completely different. So it felt like something completely new. Yeah, I mean, what was it? I was making a joke the other day about Twin Dilemma being a homage to Dune. We were talking about what were the rip-offs of what are shows
Season
that
13
Doctor
pretty
Who's
much
ripped off.
is homaging something in every story. I can't think off the top of my head what. Someone tell me in the chat what Terror of the Zygons is homaging, but I'm sure it's something. But everything else in that season,
The invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Evil,
It's definitely the invasion of the Body Snatchers, even down to the
there
pods. Yeah.
Yep. You've got that. Planet of Evil is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Brain of Morbius is
Pyramid of
Frankenstein.
Mars is the Mummy.
Yep.
Android Invasion. What would that be? Stepford Wives, maybe?
Could be. Yeah, could be.
Something along those lines.
You had the Fembot.
I was trying to think of something for the Android Invasion because it sort of stands out in that season as a little bit different. You've got Frankenstein, Brain of Morbius, and then you've got the Thing in Seeds of Doom.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that whole season is just one homage after another. It's just fantastic.
It's brilliant.
So well. Candidate.
Yeah.
Deadly Assassin, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Robots of Death is Agatha Christie.
Absolutely.
I found, you see, I'm being political. I found Caves of Androzani was nice and political and kind of homage, lots of stuff like that. Can I say, Geraint Williams, I apologise. With all the tech stuff going on, I'm trying to keep an eye on everything at once, and I can't when I'm trying to keep the thread going as well. But thank you very much. That was very nice of you. You enjoyed the well. Well, it's good that somebody did.
Sorry, I enjoyed it. Sorry, I wanted to correct that. I actually enjoyed it. It annoyed me at how much hype it was getting.
Well,
Same.
Enjoyed it is pushing it for me. It didn't turn me away. It didn't turn me off. It was just quite mundane Doctor Who. It was building. But to me, the argument is you can't build and then suddenly just then up speed. Like it was just like suddenly somebody's pressed fast forward. And right, Mercury, bang, whoa. You think, oh, layer it, mate. Pace it. And for every moment you build atmosphere and then you wreck it within 2 seconds of stupid exposition. No good.
Well, you know what you've got to do is not watch Unleashed after these episodes, because like I just don't. It's insane, that show. Like you literally get the author of the episode come on and tell you that what a half-assed job it was, and that he basically hacked up some other poor girl's work, and then retrofitted a story that has nothing to do with what's actually happening in this episode, and the monsters got no attributes that are related. There's no reason why this is a midnight sequel. There's nothing about it that actually relates to the midnight entity other than the fact that he says it does.
Exactly. It would have been so much better if they just didn't mention it.
Well, the whole thing, the title thing, the well, what does that have to do with the midnight entity?
Nothing.
It makes no sense. So they're saying the whole planet got mined of diamonds and the whole surface is stripped bare. I mean, before you couldn't even go outside, I thought. And they've stripped the planet bare and mined, and then 400,000 years later, this entity is trying to get on a ship to go somewhere. It makes no sense. It's just so stupid.
None at all.
Anyway, that's the sort of stuff that pulled me right out of the episode, because it was just irritatingly stupid.
But I know, I mean, we're talking about homages, but yeah, this is the trouble. We're pulled back into all the troubles of today, which is these stories just went for it. They had a style, they had a tone, they had a commitment to whatever they were trying to do, but it was definitely to scare the kids. Now I really do think RTD is trying to show if he throws enough things at the screen, something will be liked by everybody. That's not called good TV.
No, it's not.
And that's my disappointment with that. I mean, I think my favourite out of all these, I think, is the Manchurian Candidate homage and the Deadly Assassin. I mean, for the adults, it's like political intrigue. It's great. For the kids, you've got, I mean, it's macabre. It's fantastic.
What was Horror of Fang Rock, do you think? Horror of Fang Rock. It's just a good story.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you're going to be voting tomorrow, I've done my timey-wimey all the wrong way around, haven't I? We have all our political ones as well. And, of course, your favourite one, Dan, is the
Not
Great
in the shower curtain.
So that one actually had a political, thing going on around it with what was that with the UK joining the common market at the time? Is that what was going on?
Yeah.
The EEC, apparently. I was looking it up today, but yeah, close enough.
Was
Yeah.
Doctor Who's been doing. Well, that was something that was going on at the time, but there's been political intrigue throughout Doctor Who right from the very beginning. The political intrigue of the two cavemen in An Unearthly Child, trying to vie for leadership of the tribe by getting fire. You had the Daleks and the xenophobic attitudes towards the Thals, and even the Censorites in that. There was political intrigue between the actual Censorites too. So there were really interesting concepts going on with the aliens. They weren't all just of one mind. They were fighting with each other as well. But that was as a
Absolutely.
result of the paranoia of the men in the caves in the Sensorites, and then the paranoia of the Sensorites themselves. It was all fascinating political intrigue going on. So it has been done right from the start, and it's the difference is it used to be done well, not anymore,
Yes. Yeah.
unfortunately.
Spot on.
Oh
Spot
yes, the caveman politics in unearthing.
on.
Fascinating. It's riveting stuff. I can't wait to.
Have you heard my audiobook reading of it yet?
No, I haven't.
Do you want to?
It's
Do you
worth it
want
for the
to?
voices, let me tell you. It's the only way you'll get an audiobook version of that, because the official version will never be released by the sounds of it.
No.
Aw.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it, to watching politics happening with characters. I mean, like I said, one of my favourites is the Caves of Androzani. When the argument is, I know I put it up from the it wasn't breaking the fourth wall. It looked close, but he was just turned to the camera thinking aloud, because it's all political plotting. I hope it wasn't breaking the fourth wall, because I am consistent on that. I don't approve of it ever. I don't like Tom Baker doing it in the 70s. Nope. I'm glad I wasn't around for when William Hartnell did it. I do not approve. You break the whole thing. Can't stand it. So I'm hoping Caves of Androzani was just, how do we show what he's thinking? Because it's very, how do you do that in a TV program? Do you put a speech bubble up? So he talks to camera and you hear his plotting. That's how I
You have
get
him
around
talk
it.
to Nida. That's how you do it.
Yeah, well, that's the other way. We're not going to mention Happiness Patrol, then. We're not going to mention those types of ones. You know,
Well,
you
I
think,
was, because that was all about oppression, wasn't it? The Happiness Patrol. That was quite a clever
yeah,
one.
had a kind of Latin American vibe, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the classic Paradise Towers.
But you see, this is it. This is it.
You're snobby. You're snobby when it comes to ones you don't like. But
well, it's because you don't see the beauty and the vintage of Peladon.
hey, come on. You got Bonnie Langford in a polka dot bikini.
And
Actually, no. Yeah, actually, sorry. I forgot my target market and target
yeah,
audience here.
where was Adric? Was my question. No.
I had my son cringing the other day at the greatest show in the galaxy, speaking of Stephen Wyatt, because there was a full-on Pash scene in there. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
It was in the Quarry, wasn't it, with that bellboy?
Bellboy and
Yeah.
Flower Child getting it
That's
on.
it, yeah.
Oh.
That's it, yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and
Nasty.
she gave him the earring.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, well, as you know, I reviewed that and called it the greatest mess in the galaxy, and then got
Yes, you did.
my
And then got
Google-
cancelled, and it was all over. That'll teach you.
But I think this is the thing with Doctor Who fans and or new fans, which is they argue that it's always had politics in it. But as Dwayne said, well, yeah, it has characters being political. That's what you watch. But what's different now is it's kind of coming out of the camera at us. It seems to me.
Or it's just when it's done well, no one cares.
That's exactly right.
You know,
What about the good old? I get kickback on this one. People say, "Oh, it was always political." Da, 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 da. What about John Pertwee in Planet of the Daleks when he was warning them about the war heroes and all the rest of it? Because people said that got very close to just basically doing a little lecture, like Jodie used to. You know, when they fight back on me.
Same thing. Like even in the well, like you keep getting these moments, and they are moments. They are just. It's a word, it's a line, it's a comment that just you're immersed in something, and then all of a sudden, bang! There's something that comes out and just hits you because it's there to do that. It's not there to push the story forward in any way. It's there. It's the smugness of the writer that's putting that shit in there, and it's irritating.
Very jarring, isn't it? Yeah, it's very jarring.
It is when it hits you. It hits you hard because it's. It's just there. It's there to be precisely, it's there to just go. I'm making a point, and there's nothing you can do about it, and
It
just
just
suck
takes
it.
you out of the whole story. It's so clumsy. It's like the Star Beast, that infamous moment where they're talking about misgendering, and where did that come from? It was nothing to do with what they were talking
Is it
about.
because the type of politics Doctor Who seems to be focusing on is different? You know, whether Britain joins the EEC or not, that's a different type of thing. But now it's all about gender
Yeah, but
politics, identity
if you
politics.
write a story like say Helen A, and you're showing both sides of the of
Hmm.
of um of the world in which they live, and you're developing proper characters, and there's a story there, it's not jarring at all. It's it's quite entertaining, and it's immersive. You get sucked into it. The problem is at the moment in this era, and it started with the quiffs in the modern era, where comments and it's just an arrogance of the writer to just
Yeah,
be a smartass. Basically, there's no humility in the show anymore. It is,
no.
and the Doctor is so egocentric now in terms of how he's been characterized. It's look at me, look at me, look at me. Look how good it is. Your mum's gonna be whistling my butt, and
Yeah, that was a
I,
great line, wasn't it?
how great am I? Look how good I am. I mean, this just there's nothing about the Doctor here that in the character, and as
No.
everyone keeps pointing out, hardly ever saves the day. There's no thought. There's quite often other people are left to resolve the key issue. There's no heroism there. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, Dan,
You're spot on.
this is
being
why I
political.
think the problems. I think the New Who
It's
project
the lack of
has
humility.
died now. It's become filler. Doctor Who's not event TV. It's not like people are waffling on about adolescence in this country saying, "Oh, you must watch that drama," that kind of thing. It's just wallpaper on the TV at the moment, and that's the fault I think of New Who that started successfully, but as it all it will do is the same formula, same formula, same formula, and so they've because they refuse to change their 45-minute formula where they have within a season a touch of comedy, a touch of this, a touch of that. What? Philip Hinchcliffe going, how does that work? I just did a season of gothic horror, end of. A casual viewer won't know what they're getting with Doctor Who from week to week. Now, with Classic Who, you used to kind of go, I don't know where he'll be. I don't know where he's going to land and what perils he's going to face. But that was different to going, am I going to get Stupid Who, Daft Who, Cheeky Who, Diva Who, Doctor Who Lights? What?
I can see Simon Anthony in the chat. I thought you were really I thought he was pretty keen on this stuff, but seems like not so much these days.
In and out, Simon. If I was being fair on Simon, he pushes back on us, gives us all the questions, and that fires up the thread. We kick back a little bit, and then sometimes he agrees with us. So that he's open, like we all are. Hopefully, I don't like people who are shut. Like you listen, you debate, you listen. Some points you cede, some points you stick to your guns, that sort of thing. That's where Simon.
Someone said there's rumours of Richard Gadd becoming the next Doctor. Can you imagine that? And they could imagine the companion was like Joy came back and was like started calling him little baby reindeer. That'd be funny.
Oh, no, that'd be terrible.
Well, yeah, Simon. Yeah, at least you're honest. Well, that's our roundup of the week. I think we're all kind of. It's been a tiring week. We're all kind of, I think, wanting to do other stuff that's not Doctor Who at the moment. So, thanks the crew. Sirens of Audio, what you're up to, Dwayne?
What are we up to? We dropped an episode this week reviewing 6 Big Finish releases from the last few months. So if you're interested in Cybermen, you're interested in Crinoids, that's happening there. Other than that, we're sort of in between projects at the moment. So
Yes, my detox is in between yesterday's and tomorrow. I'm like, oh god. Dan, have you started your own channel yet?
Me starting a channel? No. I've got 5 subscribers. I'm curious who the 5 are, to be honest.
Don't say
Yeah,
that.
no. No, I'm just hanging out and trolling in people's chats. So, and
Yeah.
you'll only find me here on the detox hour.
That's it. And Doug, how's your channel? What's it presenting at the moment?
The Boomer Doug channel, hardly anyone watches. I've just done a video on Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is, I think, a perfect movie. And the Uncle channel, I'm talking about my favourite episodes of the series every Friday. Fight Back Friday, I'm calling it. Don't let Thrush win. The best cure for Thrush is the man from Uncle. There you go.
There you go.
Where are all the movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark? Why are we not getting new good stuff like that anymore? That just
Well,
stays.
they tried, didn't they, with their last one when the 85-year-old Harrison Ford, that didn't work.
No, but something new and original, but that has that same
Yeah,
staying power.
yeah.
And
I
you
don't
know,
know. I think people are a little bit afraid of it. If I'm honest, there's not much original at the moment. I guess we need some indie movie, some low budget indie movie to
That's
come
what I
out
mean.
and wipe us. Yeah,
The death
It's
of
'cause
cinema and the death of TV is when you get these executives who adore formula. That's the
yeah.
snag.
That is the big snag. You're spot
Yeah,
on.
but no, it's the writing room, because they kill. They don't want to have. They want to the realignment and all the values that they want to impose on the audience don't align to the hero's journey, and they just want to subvert everything. So you're just not getting satisfying movies like that anymore. I mean, it's not like the old ones were formulaic, but I suppose there is a formula in a sense, that a way to tell a story. I mean, you look at Shakespeare. There's a formula across all the Shakespeares in a sense, but each one's unique.
No, it's a fair point. I tell you what, there's one show that I'm loving at the moment. It's I think it's on Amazon Prime, the Jack Reacher series. It is so good. Now that's something I can totally recommend. Worth your time.
Well, this is, I mean, well, and I think this is where Doctor Who is stuck, because it's like, it's trying to reach out. In RTD's head, he wants to emulate other brands, and other brands have emulated other brands, and nobody's been
Yeah,
original. And
I
yet Doctor
never
Who is
understood.
original.
I
Well, if
never
you listen
understood
to
that. Yeah,
RTD
yeah.
If you listen to RTD talk, and if you watch enough Unleashed, you get a feel of what he likes and what he doesn't like. And quite honestly, he likes a lot of shows that I think the vast majority, the audience is in those shows, the vast majority of the audience rejected those. So it's like, well, if you think these are all wonderful and and that's your diet of TV watching, then that's what your writing is going to emulate, isn't it? So
Well, you see, if you're saying, "Oh, I liked Buffy, I like Strange New Worlds, I like what they're doing there, I'd like to do a bit of this," what you're straight away saying is you're going to dive into their ingredients and their formula, which is different to doing a homage but making it still very Doctor Who. And what's
Yes.
happened is it's like he's sat on a gold mine. When I looked at that Guardian article yesterday that said, "Is Doctor Who doomed?" Its very last sentence said, "It might go away for a bit, it might pause for a bit, Doctor Who. It looks as though it's died in this era." But it said it's got such fertile storytelling ground, it can surely not go away. But
I think
they're
it'll
not
always
doing
come
that.
back.
Yeah,
I
but
think it'll always come back.
But they're deciding not to do what makes Doctor Who good. They are trying
Yeah,
to.
that's why it's not
aid other
working.
program. Yeah, they've. My shorthand is they're just bored with the brand. Well, clear
The
off.
only reason that it died in '89 was that the BBC were actively trying to
Yeah.
put its foot on its neck.
That's
And the
right.
irony is now, the last 7 years, they've been trying to keep the party going,
Yeah.
but they've been wanting to use the platform to um, do something else. They want to use it. They want to use. They want to capture the audience and do something else with and use it for something that it wasn't. That's not what made it popular.
I think the
And
only way to save it is to start small, really small, and just conquer England all over again or Britain, and then just slowly see what happens. Stop aiming to conquer the world. That's where they went wrong.
Well, stop aiming to destroy the world every week. That helps as
Yeah,
well. Um,
yeah.
because that wasn't Doctor Who either. I mean,
No, no.
it's
maybe
beyond
maybe what they
imagination.
need to do is get back to cheap, very low budget,
Yes,
or a
yes.
low budget with young producers, um, young writers. I mean, this is where the Renaissance came from again in the late '80s with under the Cartmel era. Um, I think you've just got to pass the torch on. I mean, these guys have had it for 20 years now. It's time to let it go. The fact that you haven't built it up with people underneath you that can carry the flame, I think that's an epic fail in and of itself.
Now, is Mr. Squinty Mint onto something here? I think this is the last iteration of the show where episodes come down from on high. We always had that inkling, didn't we, when we were teenagers and younger, that if you wrote a script and sent it in, it's like the lottery. You're trying. And Andrew Smith won the lottery and got full circle on the TV, and Eric Sayward, amongst other script editors, now and again did try and get new writers in.
Yeah.
But it seems to me now it's done in a very different way, and it is imposed from on high. And RTD has this master plan. Okay, Andrew Cartmel had a plan, but Christopher H. Bidmead had a plan. That's okay, but I don't think he's letting people reach out to him. He mentors certain people. He does them writing clubs, but I think you need to be of a certain ilk, and and the message. So if I wrote a script and it was about a certain type of person, no, it needs to be over there. And you think, oh God, this is ridiculous. That's not finding talent. That's saying you've suited the topic I like.
Yeah,
so-
I think what RTD said about the episode this week and what he did with it, because he supposedly co-wrote it, but it sounds like he took something and completely redid it. But
He did.
I
He
just
did.
think yeah, but it's like, to be honest, that's a terrible thing to get on a TV show and talk about straight after the episode. And I thought it was quite disrespectful to the co-writer.
Well, it doesn't help, does it, that when you're doing your apprenticeship on Doctor Who, suddenly he says, actually, I've got a really good idea. We've planned this, but if I stick my monster on it from them, and then it becomes unfair. He sabotaged his own mentorship program there, Mark Prostgate, but he doesn't emulate those programs he says he wants to. His Doctor Who does not resemble Stranger Things. Stranger Things is dark and prepared to be scary and doesn't preach. Right. So we get why do we get the rubbish version?
I don't know.
Can I just ask, do you guys think we're going to see any Cybermen or Daleks in Disney Who? Or you reckon that we're out at the end of the season without any of that?
We better
I don't think
not.
so. I don't think they will.
I would hope
I
not.
don't.
You do?
I hope not. But
No.
it's just something that won't be infected by this toxic
If they
era.
No, absolutely. Because if they do, they'll probably try and change them, and they'll wreck them completely. No, I don't think we'll see any of the classic.
Can I ask
major
another
monsters.
question? I put this era entirely on the shoulders of the Bad Wolf crew in terms of Julie Gardner, Jane Tranter, RTD, and Phil Collinson. I don't blame Disney for this at all. To me, they just provided some money. Do you think that's a fair assessment? I don't see
I
it
think
as
that's very fair.
Disneyfication of.
I think so.
I don't think
Yep.
there's
Yeah.
any of the missteps here at Disney.
I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of the blame that's been thrown at Disney is unfair. All they did was finance it and offer a few notes. I think this is all down to Bad Wolf, definitely.
and all down to Russell T Davies, because
Yeah.
nobody messes with him, nobody questions him. He said it in his. I'm only using his words. You're not allowed to question him. You're not allowed to criticize him. Can you imagine being that writer for The Well, and this is your first gig on Doctor Who? Are you going to sit there when you're talking about the script and you're going to ask him, why are we doing that? Why would no, you're not.
I'll just I was saying this in the chat that we had yesterday. Last weekend, myself, my wife, and a friend of ours were talking, and we were talking about shows that we watched when we were kids. Knight Rider was one of them, and Knight Rider was one of those shows that the whole family. Well, there were many shows like that where the family would sit around and watch them, and so I threw an episode of Knight Rider on. For my wife, really, I said, "Oh, we were talking about this with our friend the other day. Let's have a look at this." And instantly, as soon as it came on, I said to the kids, "Oh, this is a show about a talking car," and they just zipped over, sat
Wow.
glued to the TV set for 2 episodes. It was a double episode we were watching, and then when it
Wow.
finished, they were begging me for more.
Oh, that's
And
brilliant.
it's like my
That's
son too,
brilliant.
who's been watching. And this is not the new Knight Rider. This is the Hoff we're talking about here.
Oh, there's no
Um,
other one. That's the only one.
my son, he's begging for more Seeds of Doom too. So this is the kind of
Fantastic.
TV that's still being wanted by kids. My kids, I think they're pretty typical
Fantastic.
kids, and they're just absolutely loving it. We don't get TV like that anymore. And
No.
Knight Rider it's just basic storytelling about a fancy car that goes fast and talks to Michael Knight, and he gets into scrapes, and each week was an individual story. That was the format, and it worked really well. And it was a successful show, and people still remember it to this day. And just like Doctor Who used to be very successful, but we just don't get that anymore, I'm afraid.
No.
If you just go back to basics, they just need to go back to basics and remember that their job is to entertain an audience. It's not to push something. It's to get my kids to go and stick their bums down in front of the screen and
Yeah.
beg for more when it's finished. And you just do not get that anymore in our show, unfortunately.
No, not at all.
No, because I think he's got to allow for the fact that there's other people in the universe who actually have jobs who do things maybe better than him. So I was in education. Hopefully trust that we will be doing the right thing by the teenagers actually. And all you are is a TV maker. That's all you are. Just entertain the kids, give them some escapism, and I'll do the serious stuff. Butt out, mate. You're no expert, is my opinion. Who says you're an expert, RTD? What? That in your 47-minute piece of crap, you will be able to educate the kids in a thoughtful way? Really? Oh, wow. Why didn't I think of that in my 30 years in education? That's my issue. Who the hell does he think he is? All he's done is write TV scripts. That's it. He's not a politician. He's not an educator. Butt out. That's all you are, mate. Media. Nothing special. For some reason, he thinks he's very, very influential and he wants to save the world. I'd prefer to save the world from some of his preaching, actually. Never mind what he thinks is the worst bit. So I find it fascinating when he does his high horse and I'm going to use Doctor Who to do this. Mate, as Dwayne's just said, get back to basics. You're not even doing the basics.
Well, in the chat, Zero Room said they went back to basics last week. I have to disagree with that because the bits that I saw, particularly of the Doctor, some of the things he was saying, that wasn't back to basics. That wasn't a character who we can relate to, not relate to, but we can trust to go into an adventure and fix something out. It was an egocentric character who didn't fix anything by the end of it anyway. That's not going back to basics. That's something totally different.
Well, it's true because the Cassio character, which was the the second in charge that the writer wanted us to not like. To me, he was in classic. He would have been the brigadier. He was actually thinking like the brigadier would, and very much like the brigadier before he trusted the doctor. In what's it called? The web. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, my head's. So what's the story? The one in the subway. With the, it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Gridlock.
No. With the brigadier with. Sorry, not the brigadier.
Cybermen?
Oh, Web of
No,
Fear.
yeah, Web of Fears.
Yeah, Web of Fear. Yeah.
Yeah, like the one that's missing. Anyway,
Yeah.
the point is though, like he was the voice of common sense in that, and for some reason they want to like make out that the military mind is stupid, but they take it to a whole nother level of making out that this guy deserved to die. And it's like, no, this guy was sensible the whole way through, and the doctor lied his way into the situation. This guy had his number. He knew he was being bullshitted to, and he didn't trust him. The doctor should have fixed that, and he could have fixed it before it got to the point where people died. And at the end of the day, the doctor was not morally right in that scenario at all. And it was outside of his normal character. It was just not appropriate. And at the end of the day, they were then celebrating the female leader for basically getting all these guys killed. And it's like,
it seems to me that if RTD did stay as showrunner, that the next Doctor, when we get one, has to be a woman, because he just seems to be obsessed with that female representation, that positive representation in that way, for good or bad. Men are a bore. Men are toxic. Men are bad. Men are evil. Men are a pain in the neck. Men are an obstacle. That's how it comes across to me in his scripts.
Yeah. Although I did find it deliciously ironic that the glorious sacrificial step that she took of throwing herself down the well was kind of funny when you realize that she did make sure she had the entity on her back still.
Yeah.
But it didn't. That doesn't even work in playback. I mean, his stories are so not clever. He made such a big thing that if you go behind the monster, it kills you. So basically, when she had her back to the doctor, he should have been thrown around.
Oh, I had that exact thought. I thought she should have been running out of that hallway in backwards.
That's exactly right.
Playing by the rules.
And by the way, and I know Zero Room's a friend, but Zero Room, if that's the best, and it was going back to basics of Doctor Who, the Doctor got them all in trouble on that spaceship because he stopped running because he wanted to have a nosy at the monster. That was it. Curiosity. That was it. There was no great idea. He got them all caught. They could have got away. He slowed them down. He's useless.
Yeah,
and he told a woman, the woman leader, I'm not listening to you. I've got a better idea. And we'll get the monster off the planet in the end. I mean, this is not Doctor Who at all. Useless. Now, I know my mic is rubbish, so I'm going to stop and end the conversation now because that's no good. It's not a good podcast for people to listen to when I have to speak, I know. So thank you, everybody, for sticking with us, and we'll try and sort that out. I mean, maybe the mic's tired after a week of miking.
Maybe. You've used it a lot.
Yeah. Okay, then. Well, thank you, everybody. We did our adverts a bit earlier, so check on them, and see you all later, everyone. Bye.
Bye.